Hello and welcome back to Gasbutio Tabletop Football. Today we're not actually at the Gasbutio Stadium, we're over at the workbench working on some of the seats for the behind the goal terrace that I've been building. That's the one that's split into three, so it's two home parts and an away part. The away part's sprayed grey and the other two home bits are in blue and white quarters. And I've been trying to keep this as affordable as possible, really, just to show that it can be done on a bit of a shoestring budget. If anyone wants to have a go at that, then they can do. So I think to date I've spent on that part probably about £3 on MDF, and then about £1.50 on the seats. So that obviously that's quite affordable, which I'll show you how I've been doing that in a minute with this little jig. Other costs on there, really not too much, because I've sprayed it with stuff that I had knocking around in the shed and garage anyway, so obviously they were bought at one point, blue paint, white paint and the grey paint. But you use primer for, if you've got half a can of primer knocking around, it works perfect, that. And there's a few Subbuteo and Zwego things on there, or starting to go on there, like fences and fans. I had a new batch of fans I'm using for the away end that I got off S66 Owls, good man. It's always there for your fans. Very quick turnaround if you order any, so do check them out if you need some. Slowly filling up the away end there, and I've used some of them to do some of the more, I suppose not obscure, but the Rovers kits that you're not going to see so much. So I will show you that when they're all complete. But anyway, what I was chatting about today is about making this seat. So you may have seen these seats on there, I was gluing on and bemoaning about them taking ages. This is what it's made out of, this sort of trim stuff. We've chatted about that before. And this is the jig that I made to cut the seats. If anyone decides they want to go through the laborious task of building their own seats and gluing them in one by one, then give me a shout and I'll more than happy to tell you how I put this together. It's pretty simple. Basically, there's a little L-shaped gap made in there that fits this trim. You slide that in, goes to this section. Get the old tenon saw, and very important, a little stick of some type. You'll see why in a minute. You basically cut through it, flick a seat out, one seat done. You notice I've got a hook on there. I used to have I don't know if you know little plastic tubs that decking screws come in. So I had one of them empty. I hooked it on there because they come with a handle. That was very handy because it kept the tub there, but I don't know where to put it. So I've got to use this little thing instead. But yeah, once you get into a bit of a pattern with your tunes on, you can rattle through quite a few of these. One on the floor there. One for the pot, one for the floor. There's another one. I've got, all I need now is 44 of these, so I think I'm probably just about there with it. Another one for the floor. And as you can see, cutting them isn't that too time consuming. You can rattle through them quite fast when you get into it. Look at that one stuck on there. The time consuming bit is of course trimming them off, so you get all this burring roughness from the saw, and I use a Stanley knife to cut that. Unfortunately, the fastest way I've seen of doing it is holding it by hand with a Stanley knife and doing it one at a time, which does take a bit of a while. That's what's been taking me so long. And then of course you've got to glue them in one by one as well, and then glue in your fans on top of that. Although, to be honest, I quite enjoy gluing the fans in. That's how you can make your little seams. But I'm probably getting near to the last 44 completed there, so I can crack on with them and glue them in. And then when it is all complete, I will put it in place at Gasbutio Stadium and give you a nice, I think I'll do a nice slow video showing you what I've done and explaining what I've done. But until then, I'll get on with this and up the gas.